Hello everyone, it's me again. I'm going to talk to you in this video about the grading and assessment. As you may know, this course, before I say anything about the grading and assessment, let me just point out these three main points. First of all, if you want to if you're a top performing student and you want to get an A in this course, and you know that this course is teamwork, and you know things can go out of control, then the best advice I can give to you is that now that you watched the previous videos, you understand the load of the workload of the course. So understanding that if you want to be a top performing student, you don't know anybody in class, you don't know who's your team, you need to prep yourself and you really want to take this course, you need to prep yourself mentally to the fact that if you feel your team members are not doing the work with the quality that you anticipate and you think it's a higher quality, that they need to work harder, and you cannot get them to work harder, this is their level, you're not there to judge them, this is their level, this is how much time they can give to this course, then you need to prep yourself mentally to actually take over the whole work. If you're not satisfied with your team members' work, then you have to redo it yourself. If you want to get a very high grade and you're worried that you're not going to get assessed as you think you deserve, it is not an individual course, and this is one of the tricky parts about it. And I have been into cases where students were very disappointed at their team members, and then they will have fights, and at the end of the day they do the work, but then the team members give them very, very low peer evaluation, and this affects your grade. So don't do that. Just come to class, to this course, mentally prepped that you have to do all the work, especially if you are a very perfectionist person, anticipates very high quality work, then you will have to a bit work with your team members very closely, tell them you need to do this, you need to do that, but in a very persuading way, a very nice way, that they can actually still respect you, do the work, and not feel any negative emotions that make them feel unhappy with their experience in the course, and they give you very low peer evaluation, and I cannot change that. So one of the key points here is to work nicely with your team. Second is you can only do teamwork, you cannot do the project on your own. Third is you have until 10th of April. I'm sorry, I put it as the 8th of April, but I'm going to give you 2 more days. So I'm going to give it until the 10th of April so that you can submit a form. It's in an Excel file available on Moodle with the 5 different team members you want to work with. If you don't have any team members, don't worry, I will assign you 2 teams. We have 2 presentations, midterm and final, and we have 1 report. As you can see, this accounts to 80%. There's 20% more for reports. I'm going to talk about this in due time. Let me a little bit talk about the presentations. Before the presentation, I will give you an evaluation rubric a week before the presentation. However, sometimes I give it 2 weeks before the presentation. However, please expect only 1 week before the presentation. You have to work freely on everything, and then if you need a more structured way to see which points are very important for grading, then the rubric will be available just a week before the presentation. Usually I give it 2 weeks before the presentation, but it depends. If I give it 1 week before the presentation, please expect that. So I'll give you the rubric. The rubric is basically a list of all the things that I'm looking for and how many points each one accounts to. This way I am quantifying my evaluation. It's not just subjective. You give the presentation and I'll say, I'll give you 89 for this. No. It doesn't work this way. There is a list of things, list of requirements. Some have to do with your body language, delivery style. Some have to do with your slides themselves and their content. And some has to do with the consistency and storytelling of the whole presentation. So these are the 3 main categories for the section 1. Section 2 has to do with the technicals. So the rubric will have 2 sections: delivery, content, colors, readability, and consistency and storytelling. Then there is the technicals. Did you have this done? Did you have that done on your website? Do you have consistency in the products on your website? And so on. So there will be 2 sections. So you will know beforehand what is the professor looking for, more quantified and objective. Now, let's say that Nora gives you 80% and you feel this is not fair. So for this purpose, or for the purpose of unbiased evaluation, I will appoint 2 anonymous students, 2 students in class. They will have to complete the evaluation. You probably will know them because it's going to be in person, not virtually. So I'm going to give them the evaluation rubrics for them to evaluate your presentation. You won't be able to see their grading. They will be seated far away from each other, separate, alone. Nobody can see what they're doing or what kind of grade they're giving. And they can give their own grading. I give my own grading, and then I want to make sure that my grade, if it's 80% and one of the evaluators gave 75 and another gave 85, then my evaluation 80 is in between the range of the 2 assessors. This way, my assessment will stay the same if I am in between the range. If my evaluation higher, it's on your advantage, I will keep it this way. If my evaluation lower, then I will average out the other assessors' evaluation score, and then you will get their evaluation score, not mine. So even though I think you should be getting lower score for your presentation, if the assessors give higher score, then I will average their score and give you the score. Now, in summary, you are responsible for your grade, how you communicate with your team members, and how you present. And there's assessors also that protect me from unconsciously, unintentionally giving you a score that could be biased, unintentionally, unconsciously. Yeah. So I am not going to be biased against you in any way. I'm protecting you from that. Also, there will be a quantifying way of the evaluation rubric will help us quantify the grading and make it very clear for you make the requirements very clear for you. Okay, one more thing is the peer evaluation. This is B. So B is about peer evaluation. Peer evaluation is very important. This semester, I'm going to also add my peer evaluation. In general, I'll give you the 10 points from me. However, in some cases, if I feel one of the students in class has had added a very negative experience to our class, have not participated in building and creating a very positive class experience, in this case, I'm going to penalize that student in my peer evaluation, which is nothing. If we have 5 students and then my peer evaluation is 1/6 of the score. So even if the rest of the group give you 10 and I feel like giving you 9 because you've done, you haven't participated, or give you 8 or give you 7, this is the minimum I could give. I don't usually give very low grades. For example, I asked you to be an evaluator and you didn't even respond to my email, or you responded to the email in a very unprofessional way. Then in this case, I have the right also to peer evaluate you because we are all peers here. So if, on the other hand, you participate and you show that you would like to take part in creating a very positive class environment, then you will get rewarded as well in the peer evaluation. In my peer evaluation. Only in my peer evaluation. Now, peer evaluation is classified. You will never ever have to know what your peers has given you. However, if there's any grade revision report, I am very happy to show the peer evaluation to the office, but I will tell the office that you're not supposed to see the peer evaluation, and the office will see the peer evaluation. Of course, I will also submit the forms of your members, and they are still stored and saved in Moodle. So everything is, all the submissions of the peer evaluations happening over Moodle. So there's no way anybody has unintentionally altered the peer evaluation or student evaluation. So there's always evidence that everything is done correctly and this is what you've got for the course. Okay. What do we do with the peer evaluation? This year, peer evaluation, like last year. With the peer evaluation, let's say that you got 90% for your presentation. This is your presentation score, the group presentation score, but your presentation score will be 90%, which is the presentation score multiplied by the peer evaluation score, which is an average of all your team evaluation of you. Now, if your peer evaluation is below 50, which is very low, then the percentage as is, the weight as is, will be used to multiply it by the score of your presentation. So let's say you received 100 in your presentation and your team member said that you 50 peer evaluation, then you will receive 50 for your presentation score. No free riders. Let's say that a student received 90% on their peer evaluation and above, and you received 100 on your presentation. What happens is this person will not receive 90%, will receive the full 100. So if you score 90 and above, you will receive the 100 points. Let's say that your peer evaluation is 50 to 89. Then I will add 10 points to your peer evaluation. Can you imagine that I'm even helping you further? So if you received 51, let's say, or 60, then 60, I will add 10 points, and then you will be, I'll be using 70 as a weight and multiply it by the score. So meaning if you actually received 80, like 8 out of 10, you received 80 and above, I will add 10% to that. So you will get the 90. If you received 89, 88, you're actually receiving 98 as a score for peer evaluation that is multiplied by the presentation score. So I feel I am helping you a lot. So with peer evaluation, unless you're really bad and you haven't done anything, you're receiving less than 50, the score as is will be multiplied or be taken as is to be multiplied by the presentation score. If it's 90 and above, automatically you're getting the 100 points. If it is between over 50 and below 90, then I will add 10 points, 10%, and then, multiply that by the presentation score. So I'm trying to help you as much as I can and be fair with you as much as I can, giving you the benefit of the doubt that maybe there is a 10% could be given to you extra. All right? Okay. So this is how I'm going to use the peer evaluation. So there's no free riders. Please, by all means, don't be super generous with your peer evaluation. Give the correct and what you think is a correct assessment of that student's contribution to the midterm or to the final and so on. Okay. C. Presentation report. As you may know, you have to submit 2 reports, 20% total weight of the report for, against your grade. So the first report for the midterm and the second report for the final. It's not a group report. It's not a difficult report. It's basically me making sure that you attended all the presentations and has written feedback for each presentation. I'm going to read it and I'm going to send your reports for each group to actually examine. So these, for example, group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4. So each group will be able to see what students' feedback they received, because we have a very limited time for Q&A, especially if I have a very big number of students in class. So some students are also on the shy side, but they have very good feedback. So what happens is you have to write a Times New Roman font, 11 points, 1 paragraph of about 150 words to 200 words, giving feedback on the presentation, what you've learned, what's good, what's you think could be improved, and also maybe some suggestions and recommendations for them to work on to improve or to further improve and incorporate into their project. Okay, so this is the report. I think this is not very difficult, but you have to submit the report with the 150 words to 200 words, Times New Roman, size 11, for each and every presentation. If you are volunteering with me on assessing the groups, for these groups that you are assessing, you don't have to send or submit a report. Your assessment, please submit your assessment instead through Moodle. Yeah? Okay. And this is the same procedure for the final as well. I think, wait a minute. I think I have also D here. Just a little bit about the submission deadlines. For my presentations, I take them very seriously. They are examinations. So you need to submit the slides one day before the presentation. And you need to use that same slides version, the same version of your slides for the presentation. After the submission deadline of the slides, you are not allowed to change anything in your presentation. Just because others presented before you and got some feedback from me and other students and gave you ideas on how to improve your presentation, doesn't mean you take advantage of that and they are on the disadvantage because they presented earlier. So for this purpose, everyone is treated equally, and you have to present your slides as is, as submitted by the submission deadline. Second purpose, I do this because I actually look at the presentation and study them. I actually look at your slides and read through them and see what you're doing and what you're trying to tell me, and so as I can see what to ask you during class if I have any questions, and usually I do. And by the way, I gave you in the previous example, when I gave you, for example, let's say that I gave you 100 for your presentations. I never give 100. I will always find certain things that you might lose points for. So please do not expect that you're getting 100 for a presentation. So expect the highest, something like 90 to 95. Peer evaluation submission deadline is also a week after. Please do not submit your peer evaluation way much later than 1 week. Okay. I maybe scared you a little with the assessment, but I hope that you can see the positive side. All of these measures that I take, even though that they are strict and they are probably unconventional to some of you in other courses, they are very important to guarantee fairness and to establish a very positive work environment where you feel safe and protected by subjectivity of anybody, even if it's unintentional. We don't necessarily consciously or intentionally act in a certain biased way, but we can protect ourselves, protect myself as a teacher from acting in a biased way. So all these things that I explained to you, I hope that it doesn't deter you from taking the course, but rather encourage you to take this course, understanding that you'll be protected, you'll be safe, you'll be treated very fairly in this course. Thank you so much. I will see you in the next video where I'm going to talk a little bit about some Q&As.